Don't jump in yet. Don't. I'm here today. I say this too often, actually. I say I'm with property royalty, but I am genuinely here today. Yeah. And that's why I love you. You call out my in 2 seconds. I am here though, and look, look. Let's be honest, Angie. You can off. I went to your website and I went and looked at the About Us page, and then I went to look at the trophies. I'm still scrolling through your trophy room, basically. So let's talk about just this is CRM, and CRM is always, it's a bit of a weird one because on the face of it, it hardly comes across as very exciting, does it? But really, it needs to be I mean, it is the central part of anyone's tech solution, really. And you guys obviously are using Loop now. Do you remember what attracted you them in the first place, just to start things off?
Yeah, because Dupix was driving me insane.
Okay.
It's got to talk to whether you cut these parts out. I don't know how you do it, but I'll just run.
I never cut anything out, Angie.
Well, no, probably not. So probably anyway. So we were with Dupix for many years. Ollie sold out. I was very unhappy because he sold out to PSG, is it? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, if I'm true. However, I loved Dupix, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have to go with it. Went with it. It was okay. And then they obviously their model was not to invest in Dupix, was to throw everything into Alto.
Yeah.
So they put me onto Alto. 2 weeks later, after lots of expletives, they switched me back to Dupix.
Yeah.
And I knew then that the death knell was sounding in the background because it wasn't going anywhere. Because the thing is with software, and I hate prop tech, but I love it. You and I have talked about that before. Yeah. I realised I needed to find another product that worked for me. I tried them all, with the exception of Street, which is another well-known one. Yeah. And anyway, I rang Mark, gave him a bit of grief and said, if Ollie does it again, and I know there's no guarantee, but I just said, if I come over, I don't want him to do the same thing again, because I don't want to be dumped in it. Anyway, spoke to Ollie, Mark, and I'm quite excited by it, to be honest. And I was impressed. It's not perfect, but they don't profess to be perfect. They're building it around. It's building as you speak to them. So if you ring them up and say, I don't know, text messaging, I'm just using that off the top of my head, they will work something out around it, and they will, if enough agents say it, they will change the system for the agents, which is great.
So they have that policy then that, it would seem fairly logical to anyone that would be how you work, but it's amazing how few seem to do it, that they have a policy of actually engaging and listening with their client base.
A bit like, yeah, I agree. And I said to them, whatever you do, don't sit there and give me, you're going to put me onto a help centre that I can send an email and somebody will respond sometime, never. And the reason why I don't like that is because if you have an issue, you've got an issue there and then. I'm busy in houses, I'm busy doing what I need to do in the daily basis. I looked at the CRM and think that's got to be like an extended member of my team. And it has to. And it does. And if it doesn't work for me, because I'm not interested. And so I have zero tolerance for anything, Simon. So that's why
that's not true. You've dealt with me for some time now.
No, I know. And, you and I with Kerfuffle, we've sat and talked about how Kerfuffle can help me. The difference is I know what I like and I know what I don't like. Not somebody. The thing is, I need to know that CRM, whatever product I use, is working for me. Yeah. And it doesn't work, it's out the window. That's it.
It's a bit of a game, because you don't strike me as a ticket sort of person, that old classic, here's your ticket, and then you were, as you said, it's all very well, this phrase, having software as a service, but if it feels like your help desk issues, your inquiries, your enhancement requests just fall into a black hole, that doesn't help anyone, does it?
No. If you are, and that's why with Ollie and Mark, I want your mobile numbers, because on the help desk are great, but I'll always ring them. Yeah. And I'll ring Mark and he's sitting somewhere and he's actually on holiday today, and I'll go, I can't work such and such out. And I'm not a thick person, and neither are the people that work for me, but sometimes it doesn't work and we don't know. And I do not want to sit there and wait for 4 hours for somebody to come back to me. And I hate bots. I can't be doing with all that. That is horrendous. And people think that's the way that we're going. It is not. If you run an estate agent, it's a bit like saying, all this team I've got here, I'll just press a button. I'll press the button and match everybody, and it doesn't really matter. And so throw enough, what did they used to say? You go, throw enough mud at the wall, some will stick. I'm not into that.
No.
We win awards. We win awards because we want service. We give service, and similarly, I want service.
And service comes around, so much of that is around empathy, isn't it? And until AI starts actually really genuinely understanding what you're after and able to deal with that, you've got no ability to compete with those agents that genuinely not just say it but deliver on customer service. Can I just ask you a question though, because quite an interesting one there, looking at it, is, do you feel like one of the things that I've always thought is that obviously given where Ollie's come from, where Mark Bevan and everything else, it feels to me that Loop, it feels like the natural successor to Dupix to a large degree. Because,
I agree.
Because it's almost like they've had that vision. They know what worked the first time around. But here's the crucial thing is they've had that ability to rethink it and say, actually, if we had our time again, this is what we'd have done. Are you and your team seeing that in Loop in the way that it's going forward?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I loved the product of Dupix.
Yeah.
But became very obvious that with technology, it moves forward all the time, and I'm a person who will always want the next bit, the next thing. The website. There's no point me adding bolt-ons. I wanted a bespoke one to me. That's what's great. I'm not here to talk about Property Jungle, sorry, but I will. No, but they're great because I went, actually, I want a bespoke one, and I want it to do this, and I want it to do that, and they go, okay, we'll sort that and we'll get that to happen for you. And I'm just upgrading it again now.
Well, that's very similar, isn't it, then, Angie, as well, looking at those different businesses, although they are. So you've got Mike over at Property Jungle, and then obviously he spent, years and decades understanding those thousands of agents. So again, that empathy point is absolutely vital from that point of view, isn't it? Understanding what the normal challenges are. And when you say you want something different, he actually can say, well, we know how to make you that.
The thing is, you can't reinvent a wheel. What you can do is get that wheel and make it faster, slicker, smoother, which is getting back to Dupix, which is what it's aiming to achieve. It isn't perfect, and anybody that goes into it, and I know we're talking about that today, giving an honest review, and anybody that rings me, it isn't perfect. And the things that piss me off still piss me off with it, but they're putting it out, and at least I feel as though they're listening and they're not just ignoring me.
Yeah, and you're the ideal.
Strangely, Simon, they don't ignore me, which is,
Yeah, but you're the ideal client, because actually the ones that you want honest feedback there, and as these, they've never been ashamed to talk about it, Luke. That this is a relatively, it's been going obviously now, but in CRM it's a bit like dog years, but the reverse, isn't it? It is a relatively new player, as you highlighted with Street there. They're clearly not going to have all the functionality that the companies that have been around 20 years have, but what they're doing is reimagining stuff and doing stuff more efficiently than some of the legacy programs, and that's what you're buying into, isn't it? That these guys will get there quicker than the older companies that, let's face it, are treading water.
But that's what I feel about my agency here, because if you're happy to make a living, just plod it. That's fine. If you're happy to just be Angi Cooney sat in Staffordshire, like some of my competitors are, that's fine, because there's a place for everybody. But I think it depends on where you set your bar.
Yeah.
And that's where I've set my bar, and that's why I use people who I consider to be forward-thinking and ahead of the game.
I thought when you said set your bar there, we were going to say Wetherspoons, but I'm going to keep it away from the vernacular. What do you think the key strengths are that you and your team are getting out of it? What appeals to you about the Loop product?
Easy compared to some of them that I test drove.
Yeah,
clunky, very not consumer friendly. It's just an easier.
It feels intuitive, does it? So when you find your way in there, you find your way around.
Yeah. As I said, I know I keep going on about it. It's not perfect. They need to work on their sales progression side of stuff, which doesn't work for me. They need to have the ability to customize it slightly.
Yeah.
Like Mike and his website should customize it. So if you've got a platform, that platform, in my opinion, and I'm not a tech person, should be able to tweak it so that each individual client can actually, I've talked to them about this, can add their own questions and the way they want it to look.
Yeah, so they're getting all feedback from you. And what's been the most surprising thing? So often when we go for something, we think we've got an idea of what we're going to be getting, and actually it's only after using a product for a period of time that, you know, things come out that you thought, oh, actually, I quite enjoy that. I'm quite surprised by that. Has there ever been anything on that front that Luke's delivered for you that you?
I think it's exactly what I thought it would be, because it's exactly what they said it was going to be.
Yeah.
Certain parts I was told would be coming in aren't they quite there yet, but I'm all right with that. And because I know they're working on it, because nothing's perfect, is it? Nothing is perfect. I think that you asked me what surprised me in a good way is the fact that they are doing exactly what they told me they'd do, and that is answer my phone, respond, back to me, because that is the worst part, isn't it? It's a bit like buying a car. It goes wrong and everyone goes, not interested, love, get lost.
Yeah. So what was, I mean, it's not just about the tech, because you've already highlighted really well there. You know, somebody mentioned to me yesterday on one of those MOTs we did actually, and they said, yeah, of course, you know, that there was very little tech that works straight out of the box. And of course, the more complicated, the more functional it is, the more it takes to bed down. What was your experience with the kind of hand holding that they gave you? They do have a pretty, they still revolve around, it's not just digital, is it, the onboarding? They do actually have a people experience.
If it was onboarding online, they wouldn't have even got through my door.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm laughing because Mark Bevins just sent me a text to say, "Hi Angie, are you free?" So while I'm WhatsApp, I just want to take a photo of him.
Tell him I'm just
me and you. Sorry. He's just hi, I'm talking. Sorry, go on. About sorry. Sorry, that's very interactive, isn't it?
Okay, that's we expect that. Yes,
yeah. So you asked me. Sorry, I interrupted.
The trainings, for example, the trainings in office, isn't it? Which is again is very different.
Yes, they wouldn't have got through the door if they were going to do it online.
Yeah.
Go online and just sort of have a look for yourself, because I wouldn't have done that, because you need to be able to, and obviously if you've used one CRM, you know roughly you'll be able to work your way around it.
Yeah.
Won't you? A mobile phone, you can work your way around it. Yeah, it's got some adjustments, but they were great. So Mark did exactly what he said he was going to do. He plonked himself in my office, subjected himself to what, 3 days, 4 days of the team here who are pretty, you know.
Yeah.
All women of a certain age, and he's quite an attractive looking guy. And so he.
Sorry, just to clarify, well, this isn't a
not me.
I was going to say that's you will tell the staff. You know, he's got a tiny head.
He's got a tiny head, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, okay, that's
a tiny head. Anyway, so yeah, he subjected himself, and he took it quite well, but he was great.
Right. Yeah, well, he's exceptional on that, and the people. I think that's what I like about it. Obviously, they're small. You know, they're not one of these. They're not a right move in terms of size of the business, or even, you know, your Altos or all the other big, you know, the big companies out there. But actually, that gives you actually that personality and that face time to time business, doesn't it? Which we're after.
And it does. And I will say that in the defence of Alto and the PSG people, the people on the other end of those phones were. They were great.
Yeah.
The product itself that let them down.
Got you. I understand that. Yeah. And the after service as well, is that very similar in terms of kind of whether it's keeping you up to date with enhancements or account management? Does that follow that same kind of hands-on service?
And you know what I love is that you get a little video of them. So it'll either be Ollie or one of the tech guys or Mark, and I'll say, hello everyone. Yeah, they send, and it's brilliant. It's so simple. It's a little bloody video thing that comes up and goes, yeah, just to let you know, this is new today.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. And although you might think, it's great, you know, and you're busy and you just sit there. It's a bit like the Monday morning meetings that they do. They send those out. They're great too. You can just sit there and listen to them.
And yeah, I'll let you have a sip of your well-deserved.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
I've been drinking all the way.
Listen, I babysat my friend's dog last night. Right, she's not very well in hospital. The dog and escaped at 1:30 this morning and turned back up at 4:45. Right, So believe me, I've had no sleep. So
I was going to say, what you wanted to see in your diary at 10:30 was Simon Whale.
yeah, I did. I laughed when I looked at it. I thought,
There
oh
you
God.
are. How did it look? And obviously, from your point of view, delivering, obviously with the with the advisory stuff you're giving us there. Sometimes we forget about the staff. How did the staff feel about it as well? Are they on board with it? Are they engaged with it in the same way that you are?
They are. I mean, I work very much alongside them. It's and they've got the same relationship with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does. You know, I mean, you've got to have a good internet connection. As no thing.
Course, yeah.
So there are little tiny tweaks that they need to do, but all in all,
yeah. You need that strong internet for my TikToks though, Ange. Anyway, you don't want any of that, buffering if I'm on screen.
When I'm sat there, Simon, late at night, nothing else to do, looking at your TikTok, thinking, good God.
DM me, Angie. DM me. Shush.
No, I daren't DM you. I don't know what I'll end up getting back.
Are there any? Are you able to? Do you just know it works, or are there any productivity or ROI results you can talk about having used Loop like this?
No, that's quite a difficult one to answer.
It is, because of course it's the, a lot of the time you are doing that. I'd always ask that question though, just because I always think it's a nice challenge back as well, isn't it? Because actually what I firmly believe from all suppliers there is they need to be providing clients with that information there as well, because it's all very well and good to have a nice rosy feeling about a business there.
Yeah.
But if you can measure stuff, and of course it has to be validated, I think that's where that would be where I would be encouraging those guys to look to the future in terms of how they could improve what is already obviously a great relationship.
I think again, I use these words quite often: harshest critic, biggest supporter. Because I am, and as long as they keep their communication going, they'll be fine. But they do need to, like most things, act on it, which they're doing.
And so if you were to say
go on. No, go on.
I was just going to say, well, being the harshest, what could they do be better? Where, you spoke about what works well. What would be even better? What would they need to do to get you to that? I'm sure you're not a 10 out of 10 person. So what do they need to do to get you toward that 10 out of 10?
There are two elements of it, really. So it depends whether you want me to sit there and talk about the things that Angi Cooney has noticed, really.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's always about your opinion.
Their sales progression part is quite clunky. It's, I've seen other systems, but all I want is the ability to see things clearly.
Yeah. It is
not clear enough. To me, I want to be able to change the questions.
Yeah.
Sorry, change the steps is the right word. Change the steps that they've got within that platform. I can hear dog barking. Sorry, it's traumatized me. I just need that bloody dog. There are steps that they need to sort out that I want to be able to adjust, that they know that. Yeah. The way the text messaging works isn't quite right. They've got to sort that out because it goes out 9 million times. That's something personal to me. Yeah. So cool. These are tweaky things, which I think that if you're Angi Cooney, it should be really simple. But I'm sure there's somebody behind the scenes going,
you're coming in from the same world. How hard can it be? And then the techies look at you like you've asked them to.
Yeah. But surprisingly, Simon, it always comes true, doesn't it? You always get it.
Yeah, that's true enough. Okay.
And I'm one person, and I'm in a one-person branch. They've got loads of people. Now,
Angie, how many other estate agents of the years at the Esters do they have? I'm not having that.
But you know what I'm saying? They've got bigger clients with bigger databases and all of that. And
look, I am all, as you know, I have as many faces as I have chins. But the one thing I'm consistent on is that we have to be as much as they have to deliver for you, the agents. I do think agents as well need to understand the challenges of delivering these. Really detailed, and every one of you agents will say, I just want the same as everyone else, and then proceed to ask for something that nobody else has ever done. So
I think that gets back to the relationship that you forge with, because I think that as long as it's a bit like you and I in Kerfuffle, isn't it? And I said, Simon, I'm going to, I'll buy into, I want to be part of the Kerfuffle group. For no reason, I'm never going to use you just so I can speak to you. And I am. So when you do.
I am on call 24/7.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Except when the dog escapes, and then I'm going to put you on a snooze.
No, but it's true. I want to be able to pick your brains, and that's one with it. But with Luke, getting back to them two, and sorry, not two, but Mark and Ollie, I did. They have kept the relationship, and hopefully they'll continue doing that, because that is absolutely the key to their success.
Great. Well, that's great feedback for it. So, final thoughts on Luke then. How would you rate your overall experience with them, just to summarise it again?
To start with, as in when they came along and did their initial presentation, I can't fault it, because I bought it with 9. Ongoing, 7, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Solve everything, and you're quite right. They sit there and they've got all these people who are saying, this is what we want, and I just want to be able to have what everybody else wants, but they don't, because everybody's got little nuances. And there's, 8 out of 10 is where I am.
That's really, really good. And to put it into a star, it'll give me an out of 5 stars on our lovely pink website.
4 3/4 star.
4 and 3. I love that. We're gonna have to
definitely not having 4.
So you've just
better than a 4.
You've just proved exactly what I've spoken to you about. So we only have the ability to do 4, 4.5, or 5, and you've gone for 4 3/4. So you've now left me with some dev work on our website. But I want to thank you, because we need to do that to accommodate for people like your good self. So if we want to deal with estate agents of the year, that's what we do. Angie, I adore listening to you. I could genuinely do it all day. But I am going to let you go back to running the finest estate agents in Rugeley. And indeed the county, West Midlands, the guild,
and indeed the world, obviously.
There you go. So we've done that.
Michelle Gallagher.
That's like, I was going to say that's Godzilla versus Kong, but I think I'll get beaten up by the pair of you. So I'm going to leave my analogies alone for now, and just say thank you so much for sharing it. It is, I keep saying it, it's absolutely vitally important that great agents like yourself share their really honest views about it, because I do believe that companies that don't go out there and spend millions and millions on advertising and marketing, they're spending on investing in the product, they get what they deserve, and that's what I'm really hearing today, a full, frank, honest review, it's really good. Thank you once more.
All right then, Flower.
Cheers.
See you soon.